$400,000 in any real estate in the country, right? We're talking of Turkey, a country of over 80 million people at the crossroads between Europe and Asia. Istanbul, a commercial capital of over 15 million people that has been at the century, though that has been at the heart of history for millennia, really. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone does business in Istanbul. And you just need to buy real estate there. Any real estate on the open market, you're not restricted to some overpriced projects. 400,000. And within 1 year, they will grant you, your spouse, and all your underage children citizenship, like an actual passport.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I am joined by someone who is making moves in the international emerging market space. Ladislas, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Micah. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. I think our listeners are really going to take some valuable information away and some interesting things that honestly I haven't thought about before that we were discussing in our pre-talk there where we're coming on live. So let's dive in. So first off, for people who may not be familiar with your world, give us the short version and what's your main focus these days?
Sure. So essentially, I travel around the world full time looking at real estate and investment migration opportunities. So what we do is we help people not just invest in real estate in mostly emerging markets, but we also help people acquire second residencies, like a Plan B residency, and also second passports, because it is possible to just buy a citizenship.
Interesting. Okay, we're going to unpack that for sure. So let's rewind for just a second and tell us how you got here. How did you end up in the current space that you're in?
Yeah, so initially I just did a BBA in international business in Canada. Then I went to grad school in Australia in business and law. Then I ended up working for Nestle, the big food company. Some say the big evil food company in Nestle at their headquarters. And then they sent me to Africa for 7 years. So actually I spent most of my 20s in Africa. So in South Africa for a bit, and then 3 years in Ghana. And in Ghana, I was in charge of the milk business for Nestle, for Ghana, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. And then at the age of 30, I left. I wanted to try something new. And my objective initially was to look for a job in Dubai before it was cool. And but before doing this, because my parents were retiring at the same time as I was, in between, we went on a road trip together. So we took the car from Oman in the Middle East, drove into Dubai, put the boat on a ferry to Iran. We drove all across Iran, went into Armenia, went into Georgia, crossed all of Turkey, drove into Greece, up to Ukraine, and then we drove to Paris. And it was the first time that I had two things going on. I had time I had a lot of time. I had really no time pressure and money from having, saved over the years as an expat in Africa. So, and when we're going around all these random places, I'd go, into real estate agencies, I'd meet expats, I'd meet local business people, I'd go talk to lawyers. And then I saw some of these markets were really interesting. So what I started doing was buying units, renovating, and flipping.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I never really got to looking for a job in Dubai. Now it's been a decade and I travel around the world. I do real estate deals mostly in emerging markets. And then gradually I got into that residency and passport space because in some cases, when you buy real estate, some governments will grant you a residency permit for you and your family that you can keep in your back pocket. And in other cases, they'll even give you a citizenship, like an actual passport that goes down the generations. So that's how I got into this really interesting space.
Now, what was the first country that you bought property in and did those flips?
So the first property I ever bought, that's when I was still working, was actually in the U.S. But the first time I ventured outside of the U.S. was going into Austria, going into Hungary, Montenegro, and Ivory Coast in West Africa.
Now, what drew you to those locations?
Hungary because deeply undervalued. At the time in 2016, prices were dirt cheap. For a beautiful capital city like Budapest, it made absolute sense to be buying real estate there, and the yields were quite high at the time. Net rental yields after all expenses about 6-7% for a capital city, which is very, very attractive. Austria, because they just kept lowering the interest rates, and you could just tell that the prices were going to go up massively, and they did. I exited that market at the peak. And then Ivory Coast, because the country had emerged out of civil war and the fundamentals were quite good and real estate was quite affordable.
So for someone that's listening to this and might be interested and has never thought about investing outside of America before and is really interested in this idea, what would they want to think about first? What's kind of that mindset that makes doing this attractive to an investor?
So I'll preface this by saying that when you go online, listen to some podcasts or see ads or whatever, you'll see people telling you how you can make a lot of money with real estate in Panama or real estate in Dubai and you make extremely high net rental yields, etc. It's mostly lies. Objectively, in most cases, you can find better deals in the US than overseas. Why? One, because the US market is so dynamic. Even when there's a crisis in the US, there's always some random city in some state that's booming. You literally just need to look at a map of the US and be wondering, okay, where are the catalysts? Where are the micro markets that are doing well? There's always some place that's doing well. Two, you have access to really cheap bank credit. Very easy. You have access to mortgages for days. I mean, endless. As soon as you venture overseas, it becomes mostly a cash market as a foreigner, especially as a US person, because banks don't like dealing with US people overseas. So you move from a market that you know that you know how to operate in, you understand the risks, you probably have a legal team, you understand culturally how deals operate, you can get pretty competent property management, and you have access to credit, to markets where you don't really have access to any of this or a lot less. So the risk goes up. And when the risk goes up, it also means that potentially the returns go down as well for you. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying when you venture into real estate overseas, understand that you're doing it, you should be doing it for three primary reasons. And that's not to say that there aren't markets with high rental yields. I'm investing in Colombia. I'm making like 9 to 10% net. I'm investing in Kenya. I'm going to be making 8 to 10% net after all, deductions and expenses and, occupancy, blah, blah. But they're higher up the risk curve. But you should be doing it for three main reasons. One is diversification, right? Once you start reaching a certain level of net wealth, it becomes objectively unreasonable to be all in a single jurisdiction.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
You're always one law away from being in a very bad tax situation. You're always one crazy government decision away from being all in the wrong basket, right? So I'm not saying the dollar is going to crash. It's the end of the world, sell your dollars, buy Chinese yuan. This is not the message. The message is, as you become richer, you should diversify a little bit more. And when you think of diversification, it shouldn't just be, oh, I'm invested in Texas and Colorado. I'm diversified between two states. You should be looking at completely different jurisdictions and currencies internationally. So it's often politically driven, what I've noticed with Americans, Canadians too, to be fair, especially in today's climate. When Biden was in power, it was Republicans that were venturing overseas. And now that it's Trump in power, it's Democrats that are venturing overseas. I'll put it this way. There are just rational people on both sides of the aisle that are just venturing overseas because they see that, whatever side it is, the reality is the tension keeps growing. And that's a little unhealthy fundamentally for the country, for the economy, for everything going forward socially. So they're just happy to have a little bit of money overseas. When you have real estate overseas, guess what? You also have a local bank account, so you can stash some money overseas. As long as you declare it to the IRS, there's a form you have to fill out every year. It's fine. It's completely legal. You can have access to different currencies this way. And then also for some people, there's the lifestyle aspect. They want a property that they can go to, spend some time. When they're not there, they can put it on Airbnb. And then lastly, and this is where things become really interesting, some countries will grant you a residency permit for buying real estate to you and your whole family, that you don't necessarily need to spend much time on the ground to keep active. So it means that if you ever felt you needed to leave for whatever reason, there's a country that accepts you with open arms and that has already recognized you as a resident. So you can move there anytime, work, bank, do business, etc. Your kids can go to school, access to, healthcare, everything. You're a resident. And then some countries I'll give you an example. Panama's a good one. You just need to put $200,000 in real estate and they'll give you residency to you and your whole family, temporary residency that you renew. Or if you put 300,000, they'll give you permanent residency for life. And then you just need to go back to the country.
Wow.
You just need to fly to Panama once every 2 years to keep it active. And in Panama, what do you have access to? You have access to banking, really affordable healthcare, all of that, and you can just keep this in your back pocket for you and your family. And all you need to do is to keep the investment, depending on the program you choose there, for between 3 and 5 years. Then you sell, you can bring the money back to the US, but you still keep that residency permit.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So
You can
even
also
once you
just,
don't have the property, you have
yeah,
residency still.
yeah. You can,
Wow.
they even have a
Same kind
program,
of
200,
criteria, fly back once every 2 years?
yeah, it's amazing. There's even a program where you can put $200,000 in a term deposit. So you, like, there's so many people, Micah, in your audience, they're sitting on a bunch of money in term deposits in the US. You take this, you take $200,000, shift it to a bank in Panama. You'll get about 4% net a year. That's it. You get residency for you and your family. You'll need 3 trips in 2.5 years of about a week each, which is fine, vacation in Panama,
Is
after which you'll get permanent residency, and then it's just 1 trip every 2 years. And then after 3 years, you take your money back to the US. You're good. And you get,
you keep that citizenship. That's powerful.
a residency permit. So you're not a citizen, but you have a card. It's like a green card. You
Residency
you
permit,
get
excuse
you
me.
can live
Okay.
there, you can work there, you can do business there, you can open bank accounts there, you have access to healthcare there. It's almost like, why would you not do this? And it's right around the corner. It's not like Panama's far. You're not flying all the way to
Yeah.
Asia or to Europe or same time zone, just a few hours. Make a beach vacation out of it. And it's such a no brainer. Once you reach a certain net worth, and if you're sitting on cash anyways as diversification, as part of your overall portfolio strategy, you have X amount in term deposits. Guess what? Just do the Panama thing. And if you really need the money, just take it before 3 years. You just lose the permit. The only downside is you'll have paid like whatever $10,000 in legal fees for the whole thing, which is fine. So that's one. And then another one is going a little bit crazier down the curve here is Turkey. I mean, Turkey's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity. And I know a lot of people, they hear Turkey, they hear Muslim, they're like, blah, 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 blah. Just listen to me. $400,000 in any real estate in the country, right? We're talking of Turkey, a country of over 80 million people at the crossroads between Europe and Asia. Istanbul, a commercial capital of over 15 million people that has been at the century, though that has been at the heart of history for millennia, really. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone does business in Istanbul. And you just need to buy real estate there. Any real estate on the open market, you're not restricted to some overpriced projects. 400,000. And within 1 year, they will grant you, your spouse, and all your underage children citizenship, like an actual passport. After 3 years, you can
Holy
sell,
cow.
or after 5 years, you can sell without local capital gains taxes, which doesn't mean you wouldn't have your US capital gains taxes to pay. That's something else. And you keep it. And then whenever you have other children, they become Turkish. Whenever your children have children, as long as they register the birth at a Turkish embassy or in Turkey, they'll be Turkish too. So just by shifting $400,000 to real estate in Turkey, in one of the world's biggest and most historical cities, Turkey is not a backwater. Turkey's a developed country ultimately,
Mm.
especially Istanbul. You just shift some assets you have back in the US to Turkey for 3 to 5 years, and then you're giving your whole family and your whole descendants. That's a generational move. A Turkish passport, which gives them
Yeah.
access to healthcare, to a different part of the world. You can, some people can then do business in other countries that, as a US person, you can't really do business in. Um, there's a whole bunch of reasons why you'd want another passport. So and the
Gives you
yields,
more
you'll be
access.
making net yields of about, after all expenses, everything, about 4 to 5%, which is fine. And the economy when it comes to real estate is pretty dollarized because there has been a lot of inflation in Turkey, etc. But there are ways around that. I mean, I own a bunch of real estate in Turkey, and it's fine. Like, even though the inflation is like 40% a year, it's totally manageable. You just need to build it into the contracts,
Interesting.
the
So
lease agreements.
so let's dig into someone that would be thinking for the first time. Okay, I'm interested in buying something overseas or in a different country. one, how do I pick? What am I thinking about? And then what kind of team am I going to need? How do you go from I want to I have this thing?
Cool. So the first thing is being clear with your objective. Different countries, different markets serve different purposes. Just like in the US, right? Investing in multi-housing in Detroit is not the same as buying a beach condo in Florida, right? It's different
Mm.
purposes, different markets, different world. So it's the same thing overseas, just even more. Because some countries will give you passports, other this, that, higher yields. It's, where do you want to spend time? Does it matter? So really, what are your objectives? Then we look, then we drill down, we look at the different jurisdictions that would be a good fit for you. And then it's about having the good team on the ground, good realtors, and then also a good lawyer. That's important. So what is a good lawyer? And this is really important, right? Because sometimes you'll watch Fox News and you'll hear of, oh, Kevin went to Mexico and he bought land, and then after having built a house on it, then he found out it wasn't his land. Then he lost everything. Look, Kevin just bought land in Mexico through his girlfriend's uncle, right? And just signed some random paperwork at a notary public, not knowing what he was signing. Stories like this very rarely happen. If you have a good lawyer, you'll be fine. That's all you really need. Just always remember, if you venture overseas, get a good lawyer. Lesson number one. Two, what is a good lawyer? A good lawyer is never cheap. Okay. Locals will always shame you for overpaying for your locals, for overpaying for your lawyer as a foreigner. Why do you want to overpay? Because you want lawyers that understand the problems or the challenges that foreigners may face in their country. It's the same thing if I, as a foreigner, were to invest in the US just on my own without really understanding things. I wouldn't make big mistakes from a structural point of view. And I've seen it so many times. People invest in the US, they don't get the right type of accountant, CPA, and then they just they buy using a terrible structure, and then they get hammered from a tax point of view. When you invest as a foreigner, your issues will be a little different than the issues that locals face. So I'll give you an example. Colombia. Colombia's great.
Yeah, please.
Like Medellin, booming city, booming tourism, a lot of fun. A lot of Americans are investing down there. And you can get net rental yields these days in the market of between 7 and 8%, which is quite good, especially taking into account that from a lifestyle point of view, it's really good. So you could get like good lifestyle out of it. You can also get a residency permit out of it if you want. But when you invest in Colombia, you need to register your money with the central bank because there are limited capital controls in Colombia. So you can just, like right now, if I just use a local lawyer who doesn't know, he'll tell me, yeah, you can send the money to the seller's account. Sure, send the money to the seller's account. But then in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, when I look to sell and bring the money back to the US, the bank will ask me, oh, where's your central bank declaration? I'll be like, what? Be like, oh, sorry. You didn't declare the money coming into Colombia, so you can't take it out of Colombia. So you can just, reinvest it in Colombia. And that happens to a lot of people because they don't use a lawyer, or they'll use just a generic Colombian lawyer that is the friend of their girlfriend or wife or friend. But you need a lawyer that understands what foreigners go through. And he would tell you, first things first, we send the money to the bank and then we make this declaration. It's just one piece of paperwork. We charge you $80. And then you'll be fine. Just keep a copy. We'll also keep a copy for you so that if you lose your copy in 10 years' time, you can reach out. We'll still have it. And then you're fine. So it's, the problem is often people don't use lawyers or cheap out on lawyers. If you just use a good, competent lawyer, you won't have any problems. Sometimes people ask me, how do you find good, competent lawyers? On our website, we have a list of good, competent lawyers, but also you can just go to the US Embassy website or the French Embassy website or the UK High Commission or the Canadian Embassy. And many of these big embassies will have lists of recommended law firms. And those are usually the bigger law firms, a bit more expensive, but at least they'll be generally honest and competent.
And yeah, I mean, if you're going to take this on, this sounds like the kind of project where you want to make sure you're crossing all your T's and dotting your I's the correct way. Cause if you don't want it to go south, do it the right way out of the gate, right?
Exactly. And it's not that complicated. It's fine. Again, if you have a lawyer that, walks you through the process and a realtor that also deals with foreigners, you'll be fine. You'll be perfectly fine.
Interesting. Okay, so someone is first off, what they want to do is really understand why they're going to invest abroad. Knowing that mission first, that directs market. So not the other way around. You're not thinking market first, you're thinking personal goals first. Is this a lifestyle change I want? Is this a second residency that I'm looking for? Those kind of things are much bigger factors than just what kind of cap rate I can get.
I mean, some people say, I want the best cap rate, but I want it to be outside of the US. Then it's like, fine, we'll find you the best cap rate outside of the US. Doesn't care about passports, residencies, doesn't care about lifestyle, pure investment. I don't want to be all in the US. Perfectly fine. We can find that. Just make sure you have cash because, there's no line of credit where we're going.
Now, dig into that a little bit. What's it like to buy a property in a different country? What is that process? I'm guessing it's not the same everywhere, obviously, but what is that? What are the differences you deal with?
Slower, definitely slower than the US. I mean, some countries will be fast, like Hungary. You'll get your title deed in 2 to 3 weeks. Other countries, especially in Latin America, getting your title deed, like the whole thing will be like a 6 month process. Um, so often it's just slower. That's it. The steps will be a little bit different and all that, but like the lawyer helps you with that. No need to worry about any of that. Some countries don't have escrow. Sometimes that's a little disturbing for Americans, but it just gets managed differently. You're at the notary public, you make the transfer in front of them, and you know, and everyone will sign the documents, and
Okay.
the lawyer will keep the documents until the money is received and things like that. Like, so I wouldn't worry too much about the lack of escrow because the market understands how to operate around that. But yeah, that's it. It's not that complicated. It's fine.
So really, don't let it be bigger than you think it is. Just because you haven't done it doesn't make it completely undoable.
Absolutely.
Now, who have you found and who you've worked with? We talked a little bit about that you have a newsletter that we'll mention here in a little bit, make sure people can get connected with you. It was around that education piece, around someone that's how fast from someone's listening to this and says, "Okay, I want to do this." From that moment until they're ready to buy something, what do you recommend that they're thinking about? Just not beyond just giving them a time frame, right? A lot of people want to make a decision and go fast, but being realistic to themselves and to make a good choice. What do you think that lagway is?
People should spend time on the ground. It is possible to buy remote in most countries, entirely remotely, but just go spend time on the ground. Go to the country, go spend a vacation, go spend a week, 2 weeks, get a feel for it, and then you'll be in a much better position to make a decision. Like at the end of the day, there's no need to rush into anything. The house is not on fire. Just make sure you're comfortable. Go spend some time on the ground. That would be my biggest piece of advice. Just be careful of people that are trying to sell you things like remote and say, "Oh, this pre-construction deal is going to be available for another 10 days. Send $5,000 to book your unit." Just it's fine. There'll be another deal.
Watch out for the scam.
Yeah, I mean they're not
No
necessarily
princess needs your
scams.
money in real estate either.
Yeah, they're not necessarily scams. They're just hard selling. Like you don't have to go through this. Like just take your time.
Now, for your company, so you own a company called The Wandering Investor. How do you service or how do you work with other people besides doing this for yourself? Is there something that you do there?
Sure, we offer consulting calls and helping people work on their strategies. And then we have a whole list of preferred suppliers, preferred partners all over the world in different countries. And then we're also a citizenship by investment company. So we help people directly acquire citizenships. So people who want to just pay and get a passport, we help with that. So we're licensed agents, for example, for 2 African countries, for Sao Tome and for Sierra Leone, and we work directly with the government appointed people, and we help process people's applications to obtain a second citizenship. So you could be sitting in Iowa right now thinking, hey, I think that maybe it would be an interesting, maybe it's I should get a second passport for whatever reason. For me, for my descendants, we can do that all remote. In 3 to 4 months, you'll have your citizenship and your passport coming by the mail, coming by DHL.
Due to the unique niche this is, I think it's awesome you built something that if you desire to do this, someone can kind of come plug in and capitalize on your expertise already.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's what I love about real estate in general is it's such a big term, and even getting to talk with you today, it's a worldwide term, and there's niches all in it where if you just keep participating, you will find that part that you enjoy that lines up with you as a person. It fills your cup to do, right? I love making money, but getting my emotional paycheck filled also is great. And being able to do both at the same time, that's what makes life kind of fulfilling, right?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a world of opportunities out there.
Pun intended. I love it. Well, Ladislas, man, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I appreciate your time, your story, your perspective. We need more people in this space, in my opinion, doing it like you're doing it. If someone wanted to be able to touch base with you and reach out and learn more, what is the best way to find you?
So I have a YouTube channel, The Wandering Investor. I document things as I travel around the world, but the most important one would be the newsletter. Notes from the Road newsletter. I write on a very regular basis and share my insights on all these topics as I travel around the world. Right now, I'm in Cambodia for a few weeks and looking at the real estate market, for example.
It out. I love it. I love it. So we'll make sure that those links are in the description and that you're able to connect with Ladislas if you want to find out more. And for those of you tuning in who got value from this, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. We've got more conversations coming up with operators just like Ladislas who are making waves and building real businesses all around the world. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.